Yo, what's up peeps? Russell Exploitation here. Just going to do another DVD update. Going to do part of my collection again today, and this is my Ozsploitation collection. First off though, I haven't been around to do any updates for a little while. I've been quite busy and just got involved with starting up a new website called Screen Dwellers. So if you're online, check us out. There's lots of cult movie reviews and news and podcasts and all sorts of things that we're getting into, so check us out if you're online. So I'm going to go through my Ozsploitation collection. Ozsploitation is a genre which is really close to my heart. Australia made some really cool movies in the 70s and 80s, and loads of classic exploitation films. I'm going to go through some of them here. First off, you've got the documentary Not Quite Hollywood, which is for many people the documentary that kind of kick-started their interest in Ozsploitation. This is the single disc UK edition. There is a double disc Australian edition out, which does have more features, but it's a really good documentary. Loads of interviews with people who are involved with the movies, Tarantino actually, and people like Jamie Lee Curtis and director James Wan all talk about how they love either being in the movies or like Jamie Lee Curtis, or basically growing up just loving them, you know. So it's a really good doco. So much, really edited to perfection. It's just got so many clips of films. Sadly, a lot of the films on it aren't out on DVD. They're still only available on VHS, so hopefully as the years roll by we might see one or two more pop up on DVD or Blu-ray, but you can actually pick this up pretty cheap, like on Amazon. It's not very expensive. DVD is about, I think the film is about an hour and a half long. As you can see, it's got interviews, audio commentary, some deleted scenes, etc. Tarantino featurette with director Brian Trenchard Smith, which is really good. Recommend watching that. So pick that up. Great. Next up, of course, we have Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. Everyone loves Mad Max, don't they? I've only got Mad Max 2 because really this is the best Mad Max film. This is the de facto Mad Max film. Mad Max 1 is okay. Mad Max 3 I don't really like that much. Don't think anyone does really. But this is the UK Blu-ray. Got audio commentary by director John Miller, introduction by Leonard Maltin, really nice picture transfer. Not really much to say about that because everyone's seen Mad Max, so pick that up if you can. Next up, we have a nice little film called Road Games, Stacey Keach and Jamie Lee Curtis. Of course, both the actors are American, but this is an Australian film. It's directed by, I think it's Richard Franklin, I can't remember. I think it's Richard Franklin, I can't see now. Can't see, but I think it's Richard Franklin who was the guy who went on to do Psycho 2 in America. I know this is one of Tarantino's favourites. Really good little, kind of like Rear Window, but done in a truck. It's about a guy, lorry driver, who thinks that he thinks he spots a murderer. Strange things happen to him on the road, and he thinks that the young ladies that are getting killed that are on the news are down to a guy that he keeps coming across. Really suspenseful, written by Everett de Roche, who's a really good writer, wrote quite a few good Australian films. This is the UK Optimum edition. You can pick this up quite cheap, certificate 15. Well recommended that one, pick that one up. Next up we have Long Weekend, which is, this actually had a remake about 2 or 3 years ago, which starred Jim Caviezel, and that wasn't too bad. It was, as remakes go, it was actually not too bad, but this is the original version from 1978, which is far superior. Stars John Hargreaves and Bryony Betts. It's a very interesting film actually. It's a little bit more than exploitation, it's a little bit more thoughtful than that. It's about a couple who are on the verge of divorce, decide to go on a camping trip for the weekend to try and save their marriage. But on the way there, and when they get there, they basically ride roughshod over everything. They don't treat the nature with any respect whatsoever, and strange things start to happen to them. nature really, you can look at this two ways. You can look at all the things that happen to them are basically just a coincidence, or is it nature getting its own back? Very interesting film this. If you haven't seen it, I'll well recommended. Very underrated. I think it's only now it's starting to come to light and getting its props. When it was released in the 70s, I know it flopped in Australia, and I think it was ahead of its time a little bit. It's written by Everett de Roche, who actually wrote the previous film, Road Games, and really good one from him. Can't remember who directed this one now. I think it's... can't think who directed it now. I can't really see on the back, but well recommended. This is the UK Optimum Edition, certificate 15. Again, you can pick this up relatively cheaply, only on DVD, not on Blu-ray, but picture transfer is quite good. I'd definitely recommend that. A very interesting film. Now we have some of my Brian Trenchard Smith collection. Now, Brian Trenchard Smith is actually a UK director, but he kind of made his fame and fortune in Australia, doing a bunch of exploitation movies. This is one of his more stranger efforts, Stunt Rock, starring Grant Page, who is basically a stuntman, and Monique van der Ven, who's a Dutch actress. If any of you have seen Amsterdam, the film, she's the blonde girl out of that. Really strange film, because it's not really a film as such. It's more of a... it doesn't really have a strong narrative thread, let me say that. It really... I mean, everyone kind of plays themselves in a way. I think the original pitch for this by the director was basically let's make a film with lots of stunt and lots of rock, and what's not to love? You know, the kids will love it. And so that's all it is. They found this band called Sorcery, who were a bunch of musicians, and had a side job playing in a band, and they used to do all these sort of pyrotechnic tricks and bits of magic on stage. And so it's very theatrical, and there's a very loose narrative thread running through it, where Grant Page, who plays himself, who's Australia's sort of premier stuntman, he comes to America to work on a TV show with a young lady as its star, who was played by Monique van der Ven, and then he goes to see his cousin, who plays in the band Sorcery, and it's kind of, after that, it's kind of just a compilation of Sorcery playing their music on stage, interspersed with all these stunts that Grant Page do. Some of it's been culled from other films and documentaries that Grant Page was in, and some of it's new. Strangely, it actually really works very well. I was really surprised how good this film was. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It's only like 88 minutes, and it's really good. This is the Australian edition. This isn't out in the UK. You can get it in the US via Code Red. They released it with actually more features than this. But unfortunately, like most Code Red DVDs, they go out of print really quickly, and it's quite expensive to get hold of now. So the cheaper option, if you want it, is to get it from Australia. I think it's region 4, most Australian DVDs are. Occasionally you get one or two from them that are region 3, but I think this is actually region 4. It's got some nice features on it. Commentary from Grant Page and Brian Trenchard Smith, the director. It's also got a documentary called The Stuntman, which was a documentary that Brian Trenchard Smith directed a few years before this, about a lot of stuntmen in Australia working, and shows them doing their thing, which is really good. It's about 50 minutes long. Then there's an interview with one of the guys from the band Sorcery. Yeah, the US one is probably the best edition to get, if you can get it for a reasonable price, because the special features are a bit better than on here. But this seems to be the easier option. But I will recommend that. That's a really good film. Now, probably my favourite Ozsploitation film of all time is this one, The Man from Hong Kong. Quite why this isn't out on DVD in the States or in the UK, I have absolutely no idea. Again, this is directed by Brian Trenchard Smith. This is the first film he ever directed. Stars George Lazenby and Jimmy Wang Yu. Jimmy Wang Yu was one of the premier martial arts stars in Hong Kong at the time. I believe when this film was written, it was written for Bruce Lee to star in, but of course Bruce Lee died, and Jimmy Wang Yu was under contract to Golden Harvest to partially co-finance this film, and he agreed to star in it. They got George Lazenby in to play the bad guy, and it's a really good film. It holds up today. It's got some really good action. It's got car chases, shootouts, you know, punch-ups. It's got martial arts fights. It's got everything. There isn't probably 10-15 minutes go by without the next big action scene. Really good film. Sammo Hung makes an early appearance in it. Can't recommend this enough. The only way to get this is from Australia, unfortunately. I think it's on the same label as Stunt Rock is. And again, it has some. Doesn't have many features, this one, but it does have an audio commentary from the director, Brian Trenchard Smith. But oh no, sorry, it does have another documentary. Beg your pardon. It's got a documentary with Grant Page where he went to Hong Kong a few months before this film was made. He went to Hong Kong to try and learn about martial arts fighting in the movies, and that's a really good documentary. Well worth watching that as well. So yeah, get this from Australia if you can. Get it on eBay. I found this on eBay quite easily. But really good film. Check the trailer on YouTube for this because I think you'll love it. Really good film. Next up, we have another Brian Trenchard Smith production. Another one of my favourites, Turkey Shoot. I think this was released as Escape 2000 in America. But this is the original Australian title, Turkey Shoot. This is a film that had a few problems when it was made. I believe when they started filming it, the budget, about a third of the budget disappeared just before they started shooting, so they had to like chop pages out of the script. But they did a really good job. Very bizarre film, this one. Funny, action-packed. Stars Olivia Hussey, well-known actress. Quite nasty in places. I believe it was quite heavily cut in the UK, and I think it had some cuts in the US when it first came out in the early 80s. But really good film. It's uncut now. Really worth recommended getting that one. And lastly, we have Dead End Driving. This is the UK Arrow edition. This hasn't come out. This only came out a few weeks back. Fairly recent release actually. There is an Anchor Bay release of this in the States that you can get. There's no features on here. It's just a booklet which gives you some notes on the film. But this is another Brian Trenchard Smith production. Another classic. This is probably one of the last Aussie exploitation films they made. This is from I think 87 or 88, and it's about a sort of post-nuke film where crime has sort of gone out of control, and any sort of despondent youths that are roaming the streets who are causing trouble, they're kind of ushered into this make-way drive-in where they're kind of trapped there, and kind of all their needs are catered for. There's movies playing, there's drink, there's women, and you know, their life in it is better than it would have out in the outside world. But this guy here, he really has enough. He says, no, this isn't for me. This place is a prison basically, and I want out. And it's all about his trying to escape from this this drive-in. And there's quite an explosive last act where there's lots of action and lots of explosions, and yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This was really good. Certificate 15, as I say, just come out in the UK. I think the Anchor Bay US one is out of print now, so this is probably the best one to get. It does have a reversible cover. So yeah, so if you've not got into the Aussie exploitation genre, then I would recommend watching a load of these because they're all great films, really entertaining. There's still a few more that I need to get. I've got a couple that I'm going to probably get in the next few weeks and that. So sadly, a lot of them are still unavailable on DVD, which is a great shame because it's a really good genre. So yeah, that's it. So that's my latest update. I'll hopefully post another one soon. Okay, take care, guys.